sorry? I will be, yes, ma'am, in the morning. Mic test. Mic test. Y'all will turn your phones off and do a mic test, please.
Mike will be here.
Robert, would you do a mic test, please?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Mine's on.
Commissioner Bliss, do a mic test?
I did. It's on.
Well, Robert, somebody just said, well, no, mine's right below there.
Rayburn.
Testing.
Hello.
So we swallowed it. There we go.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, this little skin right here. You clip it on the
Yeah. Much as I'm coughing, they may not want to hear.
Right. Okay, I show that it's 5:30. It's on the 18th day of March. It's a regular commissioners meeting, and I call this meeting to order. We'll have an invocation led by our city administrator, John Palacio, and pledge allegiance led by Commissioner Velez. If you will, please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, I give you thanks for our city. I give you thanks for the rain that you had given us. Lord, I give you thanks for allowing me to serve this community for over 14 years. We ask that you continue to send your wisdom and your knowledge to the people that have to work with it. And dear Lord, please bless all the citizens of Mason because we love this city. Lord, we ask this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. First item of business is going to be consider and approve or deny a Ditch Witch MV8 mud vacuum excavator purchase for the wastewater department in the amount of $52,110.18.
Mayor,
Yes.
do we want to do public comments?
Sorry, I keep missing that.
That's okay.
Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Anybody who'd like to make a public comment, you raise your hand and I'll. Yes, Ms. Brown? Yes, come on up to the mic and just, if you will, we just ask you to be, we'll extend you courtesy, extend us courtesy, and I won't read through my big spiel. And just identify yourself and who you are.
Okay.
And just to let us know what you have. We give you 3 minutes to make your comment.
Won't even be that long.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah.
Brown.
Okay, my name is Barbara Brown. I've lived in Mason 14 years. This is after the fact, but I was driving through town last Friday, and for the first time, I saw what y'all are doing with those ramps on our square. And I know what you're doing, but I just think they are very, very ugly.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just think our square is so beautiful, our new courthouse, and I just don't know whose idea that was, but I just wrote down let's just say Fredericksburg, who has millions of tourists coming through their city every year. And they don't have ramps in the middle of they have steps just like we do. They have corners are set up for handicap. And I don't know what the thinking was on that. So I just want to just express myself that I think it's a really, I don't know, it's just really ugly, y'all. I don't know what, those aluminum things are really, really tacky looking, and I just hate to see it for our beautiful historic square.
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you for sharing your comment. Yes, sir. Mr. Brown, come on up.
Larry Brown. Just echo my wife's sentiments on this. We've been on the square and the Square Plate Restaurant for 14 years till we sold last year. And we've watched a really remarkable restoration of the square from when we first came to Mason some 25 years ago. It's just been a pleasure to watch, and I think you all, and we also have much experience in other towns with historical preservation, not just preservation, but restoration. I think you all have taken a big step backwards in installing these garish, shiny aluminum ramps. I understand public safety, believe me, as someone who's been in business on a main street in various towns, you address public safety, but that doesn't mean you ignore historic precedent, historic preservation and restoration. Now, you perhaps say these ramps are temporary, but I know how temporary works out. Usually, it's permanently temporary or temporarily permanent. These are such an affront to the beauty of the square. I can't imagine tourists coming through, let me get a picture, but I have to focus away from these shiny, ugly aluminum ramps. You could have put some ramps in there, at least would be less prominent. Surely, just to save a few bucks, you could have done that. You could have done better than these aluminum ramps. If the reason was money, there must have been a better way. It's just that I think a big step backwards to the historic square. I don't know if it comes from newcomers being here and not appreciating the history of the square. Maybe that's it, maybe that's not it. But another thing I can say, all these years on the square and Main Street, I never saw anybody fall. And I walked up and down those steps 3 or 4 times a day with a knee replacement, a hip replacement. 2 steps, come on people, 2 steps. You can't be the nanny. You can't be the world's nanny. You can't prevent everyone from falling. You can't do that. You can't do what you decry the federal and state government from doing, and you do it yourself. It's just a big step backwards. I'm sorry to say, but it is. It's disappointing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else like to make a comment? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I didn't sign up. My name is Pam Beaton.
If you will you come to the mic and then introduce yourself, please? Sorry.
I didn't sign up because on your sign-up sheet, it says sign up to discuss one of the items on your agenda. And those ramps was not on the agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Pam Bean. I've lived here in Mason most of my life. I've had a special needs child in a wheelchair for 19 years. So I know and understand about the handicap parking around the square. And I, like the Browns, think what you have done is hideous. I don't think you should have put a handicap ramp at all in the side that their business was located on, because you have one nice handicap ramps on each end of that block with handicap parking. Why do you want to overkill something you did not need in that block? Now, I appreciate when I went by today that the sidewalks were being actually repaired in front of what used to be Miss Curry's fabric shop. In 1979, 8 months pregnant, I fell right there in that spot because of the, so I really appreciate what you're doing there. But my next question is, okay, so I have to have van parking handicap. Do y'all have plans for any of that on each side of that square? Because I have to have where when my van opens, I can get my granddaughter out on the right-hand side. I can't tell you how many times in front of Willow Creek Cafe, we have had to pull our van out. We were parked in the handicap parking to be able to load her right there at that intersection into the van because somebody has pulled up, there's no van handicap parking. So in the future, I would like to see where y'all plan to place this kind of parking. And are those handicap ramps going to sit out in the street like I thought I saw them? Are people going to be able to park there at all?
Yes,
Because if you're driving a four-door, long bed pickup, you are going to stick out a car's length out in the street because those ramps are sticking there, out there in the street, has taken up 3 or 4 spots. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the ramps. I just don't like that that is the route you took for the historic Mason Square. The reason I like the ramps is because I have to use them anytime I take that child with me.
Right.
But I don't think what you've done is a good thing for Mason. Because we already had it fixed on that one block. Granted, down at Willow Creek, in that area, something needed to be done only on that end. Because you had a handicap ramp on the other end of the square. And have y'all walked the square to see when you're entering a business, how many of those businesses, when you walk through that door, is level for a handicap chair? How many of them you have to step up in, which is not always convenient? We can do it for my granddaughters because it's not electric, but it's not always convenient for a handicapped person.
Yes, ma'am.
So there are some things I would like to see y'all readdress on this ramp project and remove the one that y'all just putting in where there's 2 nice concrete, well-built ramps on each end of that block.
Okay.
You don't need the one in the middle.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Bailey. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Schlender. I've lived here in Mason's 24 years, and I have a question of the commission as to reimbursement for the loss that I have had in clothes washed in the brown water, and the clothes haven't improved with any number of washings with suggested vinegar. And I'd like to know, is one person going to give me a response to my request, or do you have to deliberate on what I'm going to ask? My request is that with my wife and I get $40 worth of reimbursement or credit on our bills, because that's about what we estimate our towels and clothes have cosmetic value, if not, destroyed. They aren't still tan. First they were brown, and we can't get them lighter than tan. And so we have to buy some other clothes and other towels in order to use like we were before. So I know I've been given reasons why it happened, and reasons are reasons only. You know, there was somebody who set fire to the courthouse, and he had reasons why he was somebody who wasn't in charge of his real faculties. But that didn't excuse him from facing the responsibility for what he did. And so far, there's no responsibility taken for our loss of value of clothes and towels. So would we be able to get a $40 credit?
Okay, thank you. I'll ask the commission if they'd like to discuss it.
And
Y'all
then,
have any questions for Mr. Swindler?
and then how would I know what the response is?
Discussion?
Will I be told something later or what?
Yes, go ahead, if you will, sit down, and we'll discuss it. If they have a question, we'll call you back
All right.
forward and see if they'd like to discuss it. Can we do that?
Make that decision here.
No, we don't have it on the agenda, sir.
It's not on the agenda. You have to put it on the agenda.
I can't.
Yeah,
Okay? Okay. Sir, we'll put it on agenda for next meeting. That way it can be discussed, and we can do it in the proper format. Thank you, sir.
I only have one question. Did he request it in writing? This is the first time I've heard of this. Is this your first time requesting it, sir?
No, he sent me an email.
Okay.
No, it was a phone call. It was a phone call. Yes, sir. Okay.
And what was the request? You say 40?
$40 one time? $40 one time? That's it? Okay.
Okay. We'll put it on the agenda, and then we will contact you if you're not there at that meeting. Any other comments? If there's no other comments, then we'll go to our first item of discussion. A discussion to action to consider and approve the Ditch Witch MV8 mud vacuum excavator purchased for the wastewater department in the amount of $52,110.18 from the EKA. Under that section, you have two bids that were requested. They did advertise in our local paper for other bids. These are the only two bids that were received. And John, would you like to make a
Yeah.
statement or?
Yeah. Emilio, you want to come up? We'll kind of talk a little bit. Emilio is our wastewater supervisor.
That'd be great.
We wanted to come up and kind of talk about what this piece of equipment does for us and what they use it for. Go ahead.
So we mainly use it for spoil from our water leaks or any kind of sewer blockages, sewer leaks.
We also use it to excavate when we have fiber, electric, and that type of stuff in the ground, where you can
Yes.
spray it and it'll suck up, it'll dig for you, basically, without having to use a big piece of equipment.
And it has been a great machine. I mean, we use it, we take it everywhere for every job. But it has run its course. This one holds 600 gallons of spoil, mud, whatever, and it has a 200-gallon freshwater tank on the inside of the spoil tank.
And there's a picture of it, you
Yeah,
can see
right
it, it's
behind you.
totally enclosed. When we bought this, there was really no such animal when we were first doing it. They mainly came in the trucks. And so they built that for us, and we got it in 2012, I
Yes,
believe.
right.
And what it's doing, it's all aluminum, but you can't really clean it very well because it has a tank on the inside. There's another picture of it around the outside. So it sucks it up and it leaves the stuff in there, and you have to spend a lot of water to try to get it cleaned out because you can't clean it out. And now the inside tank has sprung a leak in it, so it loses suction sometimes, and you can't put,
And we have, we
can't put-
can no longer put no fresh water in there. And
and it's run its course. It still works.
Right, yeah, it still works. We can't fill it up to the full 600 gallons anymore. I estimate it to maybe be half before it stops
Sucking
with the suction.
and Just trying to get the stuff out.
And when we clean it, we can never fully clean it because it's so full of mud, gravel, dirt, rocks, money sometimes. And the new one that I'm inquiring about, it opens up in the back, so we could fully clean it out. There is no freshwater tank located inside of it. There's a 70 or an 80-gallon water tank on the outside. So that spoil tank will be just for spoil. We won't have
So-
to worry about another tank taking
When
up, taking up space.
Yeah, what that one does, it hydraulically tilts up, and the whole lid of the back opens up so you can unload it.
And it tilts, so it will dump any mud, any heavy material that got sucked into it.
Could you explain something to me, please?
Sure.
Are we talking about 2 tanks for one vehicle? Because I see on both of them, you have a 300-gallon excavation trailer and a 95-gallon for fresh water, or a 70-gallon water tank and an 800-gallon debris tank. So you're talking about
Those-
2 separate tanks?
Yes,
One
those are
fresh water
Two
and then the other
different,
one you suck
those are two
out?
different tanks, two
Okay.
different brands, and those were quotes that I got from 2 different companies.
Right,
Right.
but one, because I see this is just one tank, right?
There's
Right.
one on the inside of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where it is.
yeah, right. The
Okay.
freshwater one is located on the
On
inside.
the inside?
Yeah, and we can't get to it to repair it. There's nothing we can do to repair it.
Okay,
It's-
that makes more sense to me
Right.
now.
Okay, we get one of these, what's going to become of this one? You gonna be able to try to sell this one, or just use it as
What-
backup, or?
That one, because what we use these for, and another thing that we use it for, is we have to clean all the sewer lines every year. We do quadrants. And so when you run that jetter machine all the way down the pipe, we turn this on and put it in the manhole, and we suck it out, and it sucks all the goo out of it. And that's what we use them for.
Right.
It just sucks everything out so we can clean, so most of the sewer lines are clean. Most of the sewer lines are filled with grease and all kinds of stuff. Rags or
all
whatever,
kinds of
and this
stuff.
will suck it
Yeah.
out. The problem with this one, it works really well, it's just trying to clean it out. There's no way to really clean it, and the Ditch Witch finally came up with one of these about 8 years ago. But we had already got that one way before then. So we use it quite a bit, but we're thinking about keeping this one as just a second one, because
Right.
sometimes we have 2 leaks at once, or we have a sewer call and another call, and we have to use both of them. It's just, this one will only, it'll fill up too fast. It's hard to clean out,
So
basically.
what's the tank size on this one?
This one is a 600-gallon spoil tank and a 200-gallon freshwater tank.
Okay. And then the one that we've got the quote on,
The Ditch Witch is 800 gallons for spoil, 80 gallons freshwater. That's located on the outside of the tank, of the spoil tank.
Join 800 and then 700 water tank.
No,
800-gallon spoil tank and
And,
700-gallon water tank?
No, 75 to 80.
70 is what it has on the quote.
Okay.
Yeah,
On the quote, it's still showing 70.
Right.
Yeah,
70
yeah,
gallons.
70.
And
But
it-
we're just making sure it's a quote on the right one.
Yeah.
yeah, it should be for the
We
MV8.
decided to go with the MV8 because the other one was a lot smaller and a lot more expensive. And
And-
it's not hydraulic, and it doesn't open up all the way.
And we don't need the excavation tool with it.
Yeah.
And this is inside our budget. We have budgeted for this particular piece of
Yes.
equipment.
Yes, sir.
It'll allow us to make the equipment last longer since we can clean it a lot easier, a lot better.
Right.
Be more thorough with it.
right.
So we can pull this behind a 3/4 ton pickup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Probably not a half ton.
No.
Full, yeah,
Right.
too much weight.
John, is this the drive-away price?
Yes, they
Okay.
will deliver that to us.
Okay.
And this is a quote on new one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's brand new. If this one's still working, and this one, we can't clean it well, and we bought this in 2012. This other one should last us
Oh, yeah. The same,
15.
twice the
20
length of
years.
this one
So
has.
This one does. This one will too, if
Yeah.
it fills up.
Yeah, once it fills up, it'll just automatically stop trying to fill it. Right, yeah.
But this is pretty essential for us cleaning and what we do every day. Especially, we've got now 4 fiber companies,
Yes.
in the ground next to all of our water. In
Yes.
fact, we had to pay a bill on one of them because we hit it at 10 o'clock at night with the excavator. So,
And you said this is in the budget?
yes.
No. Okay,
We've got 90 on that line item for equipment for
okay.
this year.
Well, there's no other questions or conversations. I make a move that we accept this bid and purchase from EKA, the Ditch Witch MV8 with the following configuration as listed on our packet.
I have one question now.
Okay, well, I said questions. You're doing my question.
On the old machine, you say that you still get use out of it,
Mhm.
and
Right.
it's still valuable to have as a
Right.
secondary backup.
Right.
Before you said that, where I was going with this thing is, particularly where we live now, but I've looked for, water tanks, 1,000-gallon water tanks, 400-gallon, whatever. In 2011, I couldn't find one in the United States that I could buy for whatever I wanted to buy it for. They were all long and counted for. Can this thing, if it ever fails to the point where it's not your number 2 backup, can it be converted into carrying water?
Non-potable.
Well, yeah, when you've got things that you've done, that whether it be flushing out something or, watering plant material or whatever it is, I mean, just carrying water. If not, I mean, I'm not.
I don't think so, just because it's so full of mud and dirt and grime, it wouldn't get
Too
much.
work,
Right,
and
yeah.
Get it converted over. to
Right.
this work. That was my only question. I just try to not throw something out that there's
Right.
any kind of value in it.
Right.
Okay, go ahead with your motion.
Okay, you want to rephrase your motion, please?
I make a motion that we accept the bid from EKA for the Ditch Witch MV8 with the following configuration as listed on our packet for $52,110.18.
I'll second it.
I have a second by Commissioner Smith. A motion was made by Commissioner Velez that we purchased this bid that we got from EKA for a Ditch Witch MV8 with the following description as in this quote. Further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. We have 5 for and 0 against. Thank you. Good
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is discussion and action. To consider and approve deny purchase of a garbage truck and amend budget for purchase. And John, do you want to tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes. And I brought what I did with me just so everybody kind of knows. We're not actually buying this truck tonight, okay? So I brought the ordinance that kind of tells you the procedures on what we all have to do, because each one of y'all are all equal, right? Except for the mayor, because he runs the meetings and signs documents, and also he's our executive officer. But other than that, he just has a voting privilege, just like y'all. So I brought the ordinance. So the way we do the trucks is I bring it to y'all on, can we move forward with this purchase, right? And then what we do is we've already got something I can put in the paper because it's $154,000. So what this says is the ordinance is kind of lines out your procedures and what it does, and I'll kind of read a little bit about it just so y'all kind of know what the procedure is and what the city manager or the city administrator or the co-city administrators, because this will be my last meeting, and I want y'all to know when we get a new one, what his duties will be, basically, okay? So if you look at ordinance number 06295, it has the powers and duties of the city administrator shall follow. The city administrator shall be the administrative head of the municipal government and shall be responsible to the mayor and city commission for the administration of the affairs of the city. The city administrator shall have the authority to appoint or discharge heads of all departments except the city secretary, because she works for y'all on half of that, and the city attorney and the judge. The city administrator shall have the authority to hire or discharge any employees in the position of the city. The city administrator shall authorize the head of the department to hire or discharge. If I let my supervisors hire or whatever, or discharge, then that's what they do. It shall be unlawful for the mayor, the city council, or any of its members to attempt to influence or appoint or hire any person in the positions in subsections B and C of the municipal code. The city administrator shall recommend to the city council for adoption such as measures or anything necessary, and that's why I'm bringing this up, right? Because all of y'all have to vote for me to move forward, or it doesn't move forward, because we have to discuss how we're gonna get the money, where we're gonna get the money before we ever put it out for bid. And then you just follow the steps after that. The city administrator shall prepare and cause to be prepared the proposal annual budget to be submitted to the city council. So in other words, hopefully the girls will do the city budget, then all of y'all look at it together. That way nobody looks at it before anybody else and gets influenced on whichever direction they need to go. That's just the way it works. On a monthly basis, the city administrator shall have a written report to the city, which I give y'all the consent agenda. It just kind of tells you what it is and how this works. But it also tells you how so city council, so here's such expenditures, if when we expend something, shall be structured to avoid a bid process, but if we have to do a bid process, that's what we do. In cases of accident or emergencies, the city administrator can do it in the case of emergency. But it also says that the council or anybody can't tell any of the employees what to do. Nothing. It's against the law for y'all to tell Donna what to do, Patty what to do, or any of the city employees what to do. It's against our ordinance or law that, because we all have to bring it, because it all has to come from the commission. And I just wanted to make sure that we knew that, so when we discuss this, that y'all appointed these two girls as city administrators, that they have to make, that now they're running with it. And y'all all have to come up here together to discuss things with them instead of doing things on your own, okay? It's just a minor deal, but that's the way it is because it doesn't influence everybody else or give anybody else more power. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So what I'm asking for is this garbage truck, and we have one new garbage truck that we bought when we changed the cans, and it was 2015 when we got it. We purchased a used one, which was a Volvo, but we've had a few accidents in it, and it does not work at all anymore. So we're proposing this new one. This one's a 2018 or so. It has like 60,000 miles on it. When we went and looked at them, there was 3 of them in there. I just wanted to look at them to make sure that this is kind of what we needed. This truck you can drive from either side. Okay, it's a newer style model. What I'm putting in the bid, if this does go through, is it has to have the rail system that catches the can and brings it up and dumps it into the deal. That's what we're looking for. It can be we wanted a 20-yard just because our city's smaller, okay? We don't need a big one. This other one that we have is right at a 25-yard, and it has 2 axles. What I like about this one, it only has 1 axle, so we don't run through too many tires. The other one, when we have to turn on the streets pretty sharp, it kind of messes up those tires. An advantage with this is you'll be able to drive on the side that you pick up. Does that make sense? So you'll be able to drive kind of like the mailman does if you can get used to it. This particular one was the one that they had recommended, and we looked at it. And what wears out on most of these is the arm system, because we use it every day, okay? So that we have to grease, and the guys do a good job of greasing it, but we grease it at least 2 times a week, because that's the parts that wear out, and those are the pinch points, as you know, just doing, because they move all the time. So you're constantly replacing the bars in the middle of them or doing something else. On the inside of the truck, when the trash can goes in and it goes into the back, it's kind of like a compactor. So it has this big old wheel that moves. You throw the trash and it moves it and compacts it in the back. What this one's really good is because that's usually what wears out first in most trash trucks is the compacting on the inside, because it's so hard to get to. So what they did with this truck, they spent $54,000 fixing it, okay, already. So everything in the inside is brand new. They did $38,000 or $28,000 worth of work on the arm to fixing it back up, so it's brand new, pretty much. We took Fed and Martin with us. And Martin's a great mechanic. He's doing an outstanding job for us. He looked at it, everything runs fine. We really need this because last time, now that we have the big trash cans, when that one truck went out, we picked up for a week and a half, didn't we guys? 2 weeks? And they were manually having to pick up all those cans, right? So it's a lot of work. And this will help us, you know, and while Fed and I were kind of driving back, we were talking about how to better utilize the guys, and if we had 2 of these, it worked really well, because this one's newer than one we got. We could basically run 2 of them at the same time, and we won't have to be making double trips coming around each side. So one of them could get one side or the other, and we could finish the trash route a lot faster and do other things at the landfill or do other things, right? I mean, so he was already thinking about how we could better the opportunity on how to do those.
So you'd have enough drivers to
Yes, sir.
do that?
Yeah, most of what we've done so far, some of our guys, we've got 3 guys that are taking CDLs, Patty. So at the landfill and in other departments. So what the guys do is we all alternate on how to do things. Martin can also drive the truck. There's a lot of people that can drive it. We have a lot of CDL drivers that we alternate going in and out.
So in that department, how many CDLs do we have at this point?
We have 3.
Okay. Do we have anybody training to do it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
And
Martin's got a CDL also?
Who?
Martin
Yes, sir.
Palacio's got a
Yes, sir.
CDL
So that
already?
basically
Okay.
4. Yeah,
Okay.
so there's a lot of people that can drive it. I'll let Donna kind of explain a little bit about how we could be able to purchase this without having to move a lot of funds or getting it, or having to get somebody to buy it for us. Okay?
Can I ask you a question before she gets into
Yes.
finance on it?
Yeah.
Do you know how many hours it has on it?
Yeah, it has 2,800, I think, 2,800 hours.
2,800?
Yes, sir.
So that's real low hours.
Yeah, it's.
Because look, most of them have, with that mileage on it, they'll have maybe 8,000 or 9,000 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't have that much at all.
Do we know what city it came from, or if she
Came
used that?
from the suburb of Dallas.
Okay.
Alvarado, Texas, no? That's
Yeah,
what-
that's where the truck is. That's
Do they do Carfax on them, or whatever they call that? On these trucks, like they do a car to tell the history of it? If it's
What
ever
he
been
did
wrecked or
was
anything?
When we sat in there with him, he showed us the history of that truck. That's how
Okay.
we knew how much it expended.
So
that truck.
you don't have any problem with the history
sir.
on it?
No,
Okay.
sir.
What was wrong with the other one that took so long to fix? Was it the lift arm, or?
On every one of these trucks, all the new ones, what it was, it finally went through the life of the urea that you put into the system. It basically ruined the filter inside of it. Then it was clogged, so we had to wait and buy one. So the DEF that you put inside the vehicles, every diesel vehicle, all these new ones have it. So what happened is the filter system inside of there got all messed up, so then it wouldn't run. So that's what was wrong with it. Then by the time we found it and got the stuff, then we had to wait for it to come in and replace it all. That's what that was. That's why it took us so long.
So then, they restored this, spent $54,000 on this, and it's a 2018 model, right?
Yes, sir.
So
New
that's
ones are-
5 years, so we could plan on spending some money in 5 years, probably. If we
Yeah,
put that
some-
many
some
hours
sort
on it. We may not put that many hours on it,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, new ones on here like this will cost you $350,000 to $400,000. All new ones.
John, and these used ones don't come with a warranty, do they?
They
There's no-
come with just what they have fixed.
So
Okay.
the warranty would be on the parts that they, or just what they fixed?
Just what they fixed.
Which was the
The
compactor?
rotary arm for a little while and the inside of the truck and some of the gadgets and the joysticks inside of it. One of the things that we asked them to do if we were to purchase this truck is the joystick on there is one that these guys aren't used to because it has a different button. We asked them if they could replace that with the same joystick that we use on the other one because it's the same type of.
Don't have the learning curve, yeah.
Right.
So I noticed that it's, as is. Do you have any concerns with that?
Not really. We've bought them before. That's usually most of the stuff that we have is either used, kind of like we bought the bucket trucks. That's why we go over there and look at them and make sure that's what we want. We bought dump trucks from them. We bought all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it'd be great to buy a new one, but I don't think we're in a financial opportunity to buy one, a new one right now with that type of stuff. Now, I did ask him if we could go to Mac, and he said he'd give us a number, and Mac could come over and give us an extended warranty. I don't know how much that would be, if you wanted something like that. And all that would cover would be the tranny, which is an Allison transmission, and the motor, which is a Mac motor. Other than that,
Yeah, I just want to make sure the reputable as is always scares me.
yeah.
That's normal for the industry, isn't it?
Yes, sir. The good thing is we took our own trash can and we went out there and ran it through what it had to do. Fed kind of drove it. He didn't want to drive it on the other side because he's not used to it, so he drove it on the real side. So, and he ran it around. So he was pretty comfortable with it. And he's the guy that runs them. So he was pretty comfortable with it.
Okay.
But Donna?
How are we gonna pay for this, Donna?
So the mayor and I had sat and visited one day about CD number 5 that was reaching maturity. And we talked about if we needed to possibly cash it in or, go ahead and extend it for another term. And what we came up with, because we knew we had a lot of projects that were, that we're going to need to be taken care of in the next few months. We have this bridge that we're going to need to pay for, which is going to be around $26,000 or $29,000. And then we knew that Emilio was requesting for the vac trailer at around 60. I mean, I kind of rounded up on all these just to kind of give us a little cushion. And then our trash truck, I put it like 160, and we did our check run today, which was around 70,000. So that all being said, and those are some projects that everything kind of added up to about 345,000, and that was with us, John exiting and what we need to cover for him. So the mayor and I visited about the term of the CD and what we could do, and we had CD number 6, which is in operations, coming up in May, and it's going to be mature, I believe, at the end of May. And then, so we decided we would stagger these. So with that one coming up in May, we thought, well, number 5, we would go ahead and put it a 6-month and stagger it, and it would end up around August that it would be mature. So we thought we could go ahead and cover these with the balance that we have in the bank now, and at the end of May, we could reassess the CD, which is an operational fund CD that's coming due, to see where we stood in our bank balance and what we needed to do to possibly, if we wanted to cash that in, to cover these operations, to give us some cushion to get us through the summer, or if we wanted to just wait and see what, if we looked like we were in good standing, if we could go ahead and go through. But at this point in time, we wanted to try to utilize on our higher interest rate that we're getting on our CDs and keep that money in place, so that hopefully that, that money will grow, and then that way we wouldn't be cashing something in prematurely that we could go ahead and take care of right now, and within the 3-month term that the mayor and I visited about, be able to reassess where we're at financially and possibly go ahead and cash in an operating CD. And then with the Regis money and some interest we've gained on that, possibly put that back into a CD, or even be able to utilize that money and not be able to cash CD in at all. So those are some of the things that we visited about and talked about, and some of the things that maybe that y'all can take into consideration when you're deciding what you want to do with this. So it's just some options we have, and some things that we looked at and went through.
Another source that we might think about, because I know you've been working, John, on trying to get vehicles ready out there to auction. And how long would it take us to pull that off? Could that be done in the next couple of months?
Yes, sir. Patty and I and Fed, we had the meeting with the guy with govdeals.com, and so we got all the information, and so we've already kind of looked at all the equipment. We've got, I can't remember, there's probably about 8 or 9 different items out there that need to go out. He kind of showed us how to put pictures and put it on there, and hopefully within before I leave, here in a week or so, we'll have those on auction on the day, and we'll get some extra revenue from that as well. But we have, three or four pickups, we have, 2 dump trucks, the old Volvo truck, a bucket truck that Matt's pretty bad about getting rid of, right, Matt? I'm joking. It's the old bucket truck that we had, the old Ford truck. And then we have some smaller pieces of equipment and stuff to put in there. We should be getting that revenue, hopefully, with that as
You have
well.
an estimate what that might develop in revenue? 40,000?
I'm hoping 40 to 50 to 60,000, depending on how those bidders go. The way they were talking is a lot of people are looking for those and trying to refurbish them. So yes, that's what I'm hoping for. I think it's pretty doable to get some extra income with that. Hopefully, the best project is already coming to fruition, okay? Not with the big thing, but us connecting to them with auxiliary power. It's pretty close. I'm guessing within the next half a month or month that we're gonna be giving them power, correct, Matt? Pretty much. So that'll be a little added income that'll be coming in as well. And we're gonna talk about that later in a different one on what we wanna do with
Right.
that one. So, and it's like Donna talked, her and I have been talking, and of course, the best project's gonna come to fruition when, probably in July or August, when they actually get the breaker in, and then we figure out how much money we're gonna keep because of the added stuff, and then what we're gonna give them back as far as money. So that'll be some extra money there later that we could probably put back into our general fund for that.
I have a question, Donna.
Mhm.
So, getting back to the CD number 5 that you said would mature in August, correct? And then the one, CD 6, will mature in May. What you're suggesting to us is that we keep CD 5 to gain the interest rates and utilize CD 6 for this truck?
Or possibly vice versa, depending on where things look like they stand in May. That gives us 2 options to possibly consider and replenish, either to pay for the truck or just see where we're at financially to where we maybe could just go ahead and not have to do it, depending on other revenues that may be coming in.
The longer we wait, the more interest we make.
Right, and that's why
Right.
the mayor and I discussed holding off on cashing that CD in when it came due just recently, and hoping to make it till May to reassess, because it just came due last month, I believe. You and I
Correct, yeah.
went
Yes,
ahead
ma'am.
and put that back in. And then we will have number 6 that comes due in May, and then number 5 will be due again in August. So we tried to go ahead and space those out so that we would have more options throughout the summer.
And that's just money we pulled out.
Of our operating fund to
January
begin
of
with.
23,
I believe so.
and we just set it aside because we were running too flush in our general checking account. So we set aside 500,000. Now it's up to,
300 each, I believe
Right.
3 each, so, we've gained.
yes, we've gained quite a bit of interest off of that. So it's grown, and it's given us options of what we need to do when it comes in that we need to do worse, so.
You
Well,
mentioned, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so I crunched numbers just to kind of see where we're at, year to date. And I think that's probably a good idea, kind of hold off till May. Because right now, 4 months into our fiscal year, we're running $310,000 better than the budget. So, that gives us some cushion 4 months in, so you're talking March, April, May, another 3 months, unless something, catastrophic happens. We're running at a pretty good surplus right now.
Right, and we just need to make sure that we're ready for our loan payments that come due in August, and that's one of the main things that I'm focused on right now is where we stand with those and making sure that we're, that's why that CD may or may not have to be cashed in, but we'll know more in a few months of how all of that's gonna, once these projects are paid and we're kind of have those behind us, we can see where we're gonna move
Right.
forward on that, so.
I have another question. You mentioned bridge, $29,000. What bridge is that?
Okay, I'll kind of explain. I was going to kind of talk about that in my consent agenda, but we'll go ahead and do it. 8 years ago, the state came over and they were going to redo the little bridge that's over behind the jailhouse, the little bridge right there.
Post
And they-
Hill.
And then they were going to do on Post Hill, and then they were going to redo the one on Moody Street, okay? And they proposed, at that time, they would redo those if we would redo the one on Post Oak and the one here on Avenue F, okay? Well, I got a letter saying that they changed their mind and there wasn't gonna be enough money for them to fix Moody Street, okay? So, when I talked to Mayor Hinckley back then, we said, well, I guess we don't spend the money on fixing Avenue F. Unbeknownst to me, when they called me or sent me an email, I guess 3 months ago, Patty? 3 months ago, and I've got the email thread, I kind of passed it on to them. They said, well, the mayor signed something that we did Post Hill, so now you got to finish this one. And I was like, oh, that wasn't the plan. That's not what we did, because I gave them the plans on what the other one was. They go, no, but the mayor signed this one. So he and Patty signed, not this Patty, Patty Grody, signed the other one that we have to redo this one, and they gave me till the end of this month to get it fixed.
John, was this all part of their deal when they built that other bridge that I thought?
Remember, I think you were
Yes.
part of that whole deal, and I didn't know from the letters that I got from TxDOT before, and I showed them all of those, was we weren't gonna do that one because they weren't gonna redo Moody,
Yeah.
right? But it was signed, I looked at the deal, and I'm like, well, I guess we gotta do it. It's either fix this bridge or we gotta reimburse them $100,000 and something. So I redid this bridge. Yeah, so I redid this bridge for that, and that's what that money's for. This
That's
was all,
interesting.
this all came about when after we got the new bridge. You remember when we got the new bridge on Spring Street and the one that we had to redo? That's when we changed it from Smith Street to Avenue F and to,
Back then, I had understood it was like a tit for tat.
yeah, but it wasn't. So, anyway, so the bridge is finished. We've already got it done. I've already sent them the pictures and everything, and they cleared us for that. So, we're done with all the bridge projects for now. Yeah, so.
Okay,
Anyway.
Any other further discussion on item number 2, on the garbage truck?
So do
What
we,
we will,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
do we need a motion to proceed with the purchase and the process?
the process, yes, ma'am, because we plan on, it'll hit the paper Wednesday for bid. That's according to government code that we have to follow. And we will put the deadline for those bids by the 28th of this month. We plan on having a special meeting on the second day of April, and if it suits the commission, to work on the hiring process, as well as we can include this item to where we can approve that purchase, because John has basically asked them to hold this vehicle for us. So that's the process. It's something we're required and mandated to do by government code, and so that will move forward if y'all approve to go forward with that.
Absolutely. I make a motion that we go forward to start the process on purchasing the garbage truck and amend the budget for the purchase.
And you said amend the budget for the purchase,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Do you have a motion in front of the commission, second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Keller seconds it. We have a motion in front of the commission made by Commissioner Velez that we approve the process in which we will go out to bid for the purchase of the garbage truck. And in lieu, we will have to amend the budget for the purchase because it'll exceed our budget. I think we had $90,000 in there, and we spent 52 tonight of it. So do have a second on that. Any further discussion? There's no further discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. So we have 5-0. Thank you, John. Good work. Item number 3 is consider and approve or deny amendments to the current City of Mason Employee Handbook. It's item number 3. You had received in your packet a revised handbook. It shows the changes that were made there, the strikeouts, the new changes. Do you have any questions for Patty or discussion on that?
I was part of that vision statement there, Patty. I wonder if we could change the very first one that says Mason, hometown, Texas, to Mason, Texas, hometown. I didn't notice that, but that was a long time ago when we did that. And then on page 4 of the handbook and page 18 on our packet, under sexual harassment, if we could include something to include social media. This was done way before we had social media as a concern, because this was done
Where are you, Anna?
on page 18 of our packet,
Like the second paragraph, sexual harassment.
under sexual harassment. Although social media is addressed somewhere else, but this would be something that we didn't foresee back then when we did this.
Do we have any verbiage at all about social?
Not back then, not when I wrote it. Back then, I don't think we had much.
No, we
We
didn't.
do have it in the others, on
Yeah.
cell phone use and
Right.
computer use and
Right.
that type of stuff.
Okay,
But
so
this
it's in here
specific-
somewhere
Yes.
else?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
But this is specific to that. And then just on my notes, I'm just gonna go through my notes. On page 22, on the drug-free workplace, I would like to see injected for all our employees. On the first sentence of the drug-free workplace, the city of Mason will provide a safe and drug-free work environment for all our employees.
Instead of "are," is that what you're saying?
No, just to add all.
Are you talking about on a drug-free workplace?
Yes, sir.
Where it says Citizen Mason will provide a safe and drug-free work environment for all employees and citizens? Okay, Patty?
And then on page 28, these are just my notes. On page 28, on the second paragraph, where any employee injured on the job shall be covered under Texas Workers' Compensation Act, we can omit by and entitled to the benefits provided. Just totally scratch out. Just for it to read, any employee injured on the job shall be covered under Texas Workers' Compensation Act.
So you'll leave that wording in there.
Yeah, and just scratch out all this extra one.
Is there a problem doing that, Patty?
And then on page 30, the very last sentence, insubordination or refusal to comply with instructions or failure to perform assigned duties instead of reasonable, because reasonable is defined differently for everybody.
On the next page, it says "which are assigned." Did you pick that up?
Yep, and I scratched it out.
Where on 30 was that?
The last sentence,
Page 30.
it's the last bullet that says insubordination or refusal to comply with instructions or failure to perform assigned duties, period. John, how long have we had the longevity rate for $10 a year?
What's that?
That longevity rate for $10 a year? You would think by now we would have,
It's been since I've been here.
that's what I thought. I mean, that's not very, I'm sorry, but I mean, 10 years is a long,
That's been here a long time.
yeah. maybe when we do our budget, we can work on that.
Be worth considering, absolutely.
Absolutely, that's an incentive.
I'm gonna save Commissioner Rayburn for last. Paul, do you have statements?
Page 21, under the absence without leave, scratched out twice there. Voluntary resignation of employee may shall will be removed. My concern about putting will be removed is that it does not give you any leeway whatsoever. Where, to me, there's always a gray area, and where if you put may, that gives the city administrator or whoever it is a little flexibility if there's something that comes up. You see
Are
what I'm
you
talking about?
talking about absence without leave?
The absence without leave,
The
the very
last-
last sentence in it. We had may, then it was changed to shall, and then to will, so, like I say, I think if we leave it at may, then that gives us some flexibility, and doesn't make it cut and dried where you have to, they will be removed automatically.
Did the attorney have opinion on that or anything? Has the attorney looked at this?
And I think the reason that was done, Paul, was because it was addressed in, it was addressed already where responsibilities of the employee have to call in when they're absent to notify. So that's probably why he did will, because that was the stipulation. If you don't call in and you don't show up for 3 days, you basically quit your job.
Yeah, and I realize it, but there could be some circumstances, there could be something come up
Yeah.
that person could say, hey, hell, we could be passed out somewhere, I mean, just literally be laid up at home and nobody be able to check on them, and you don't know what it is. And they didn't, you don't, in other words, there's just nothing cut and dried right there. And I hate making something cut and dried whenever,
Yeah.
I think that's what we had there to begin with.
yeah.
May.
Just like-
To me, I think it was a good,
Has this gone through the city attorney?
The first one did. This one,
This one, no? Okay.
once
May-
we pass it, then we can send it on.
So that could be a question, I guess, for him. I think if it says will and then the city administrator finds a legitimate excuse, he does not have to
Yeah,
terminate.
because if it says
her.
shall, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
permanent. Will or may, you
Yeah.
can look at it or
Like
whatever.
I say, there's
Strong
usually-
language to encourage them to do what they're instructed to do, so. Is that okay? Just check to see if what the city attorney feels like we're locking ourselves in or we're not. What else, Paul?
Under the tobacco on 23 at the top. I'm trying to think why I put this down. Smokeless tobacco may be used only in a sealed container, must be kept in a sealed container. It doesn't make much sense. Can only be used in a sealed container.
Well, I was
You
talking
can
about,
put the whole container in your
there's no
mouth.
smoking, but I was talking about snuff use.
Yeah, I know what
tobacco
you're
use.
talking about, but like I say, but by saying though, it has to be maybe used in a sealed container, it must be kept in a sealed container.
How you use it.
Well, you couldn't use it. Like I say, you'd have to put the whole container in your mouth.
Smoking
Wait,
or vaping
Yeah.
products are prohibited in all city-owned leased
Yeah.
buildings, property, and
Just looking out for
vehicles.
John over there, with.
Smoking and vaping may be used only in a designated area. Smokeless tobacco, snuff or chewing may be used only in a sealed container.
In other words, a container that you can spit into. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
what I'm,
Well,
that's
at
what I'm
one time
reading
it said,
Yeah.
at one time it said no tobacco use, but everybody chews.
Yeah,
And so I'm trying to figure out how to let them not just, instead of telling them to spit in a container, don't be spitting on
A
the
container
floor.
that's got a lid or closed.
Yeah.
Does anybody really have a problem with smokeless? Does anybody have a problem with smokeless, with our employees
No,
using smokeless tobacco? Then I think it's a moot point. I mean, right there to,
I just think I too agreed with the
Right.
wording of this. I thought it was odd.
Right.
I couldn't understand the reason
Yeah.
behind having to have it in a container when you're using it. So replace that.
I knew exactly what was being said.
So if you smoke, you gotta step off the premise,
That's why you had to
basically.
be in a container. You could only be in a container.
Yeah. It just didn't make no sense.
You could, you're right.
You have any other items?
We'll reword it.
Other one.
Okay.
Commissioner Keller, do you have any items? Okay. Do you want to make your statement there, Mr. Rayburn, or your suggestion?
I had a couple here, a couple of them already been tackled, I'm glad that we're getting on. On page 19, the second paragraph, probationary period, it says the last in blue, it says, however, the city will allow for an extension if needed for completion. Should that assign somebody, should that be the city administrator, or should that be the city secretary?
What we got on those is, because the CDL, so what it's asking is, for your probation period, used to, if you were on probation and we hired you, you had 90 days to complete your CDL training.
Yeah.
Well, all the CDL training has changed completely in the whole industry. So we're having to work with TxDOT, and you can only go certain places, and if they're full, it just keeps going. Because at one time, it was where if you didn't make it 90 days, you would be fired because you didn't complete what you were promised to complete. So we're asking the extensions, and that's gonna come down to the city secretary or the city administrators on if they allow it, because she's the one that, that knows when they're gonna get those.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do there.
We did,
Well, my question wasn't that, it really was, who is it? It's not the whole city. Who is it? Should it be assigned to?
We
The
have.
city administrator's in charge of the operations,
City
so,
administrator,
yeah.
yeah.
Anytime it says city, if it's operations,
Yeah.
That
it's
should be
assumed
city
now.
admin,
Yeah.
maybe? Okay. Next question was,
excuse me, Rayburn, I'm sorry, maybe it would help for you to understand if it said, however, the city will allow for an extension if needed for completion of required licenses. Because that's basically what that's for, right?
Or by administration.
I would just change it to, however, the city administrator will allow for an extension.
If needed for the completion. Yeah, that's what I
And
was.
it's talking about the things above it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Rayburn.
this is next one I was reviewing, it's on page 20, under standards of conduct. I had a general question, that is, like, say, I don't know, these bullets, under employees, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, probably under 7 or the bigger, larger paragraph down there. And it makes a comment about being reviewed by the city administrator. But it made me think of another question that we have. If we get into a position where we have something that we've already approved, it's part of our ordinance, our requirements, it said it must be signed by the city administrator. I know what we discussed about Patty and Donna filling in.
Bring your mic up a little bit.
Patty
She's
and
got
Donna.
to make-
Patty and Donna filling in, can you hear that? Is that okay? Patty and Donna filling in when where needed. But there are things that have to be signed by the city administrator, that have to be signed, okay?
We've
Have
appointed
we
them.
made-
We've appointed them as interim, so they have
But I
all
don't
the
think
authority.
did we appoint them out here in the commission where we've made a motion
Yeah.
that
We did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, I'm
We have
sorry.
executive session, then we came out and we appointed them.
Okay. The next one I had was also on the, was on the sealed container one. I think we beat that one up pretty good. On page 25, under the boot allowance, I would like to add this language at the end, just so that we know what the reason for the boot allowance is. And I don't think it's because we want everybody looking like a sharp-dressed man. I think really, I would like to add at the very end of it, the purchase of boots or footwear for the intended purpose that improves safety for the employees. I would like to add that in there.
That'd be good.
Because that really is the purpose of it
Yes,
all. So
that really is.
I would just simply like to add that in there.
But all employees get that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It says
I mean,
that.
the ladies don't have to have safety boots to buy them,
But yeah.
to get the money, okay.
The other one was on page 27 on longevity and pay, and I also had the same concern about, 10 years of service, and you get $100. We either have longevity pay, which is different than and
What? And it's covered. So what happens is, after your first year, okay, if you just got hired, so say we hired Paul, this month, okay? And say it was gonna be Christmas, and this is all for longevity for the end of the month and Christmas. If you hadn't been here a year, you only get $55, okay? If you've been here a whole year, you get $285 plus the $10 per year. Okay, so the employees, if you're here a whole year, you'll get, yeah, $295. And that can change to whatever, and that's the way that works. So every year afterwards, it's $285 plus however many years. You know, plus the 10 for 10 years or 10 times or whatever. But that can be addressed in the, in y'all's budget hearing, if y'all wanna go up with that.
All I have. Any other questions, discussion? I guess what we need to do, Pat, is approve this, and then you will present this to the city attorney. And then unless there's some change, it's completed.
If y'all, it depends on however y'all want to do that. If you want me to present y'all a clean copy, clean this up, present it to the city attorney. If it looks good to the city attorney, we'll bring it back to y'all for the next meeting, regular meeting. Y'all can approve it, with all the corrections and changes to it. And then we'll be
Okay.
good to go, fit to present it to the city.
So we could just table it basically and then have it rescheduled on another agenda, on another meeting.
Well, you gotta approve the amendments that we've made tonight. so
I'm
that
sorry?
she can- Make a motion to approve the amendments we made to it tonight, so she can clean it up and present it to the attorney.
Second? Got a motion by Commissioner Velez, seconded by Commissioner Smith, that we approve the handbook contingent upon the changes being made, and we'll return for final approval. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So 5-4, 0 opposed. Okay, moving on to item number 4. Consider and approve, deny providing water supply to residents in the Robinson Oaks area. Commissioner Velez asked to have this put on the agenda, and I agreed with her when we put it on the agenda. We have some displays, I think, and there's some in your packet as well. There's a lot of legal descriptions and things there, but on page 54 and 55, you'll have some pictures of it to kind of show. John, can you use a pointer or something to kind of show them where you think
Yes.
would be appropriate place to
What I did today is myself and Emilio went out there so I could give you the best estimates that I could come up with dealing with them. Okay. Lindell Estes at one time paid for a line, a 6-inch line to come to this point where it has a fire hydrant there, and then his meters are right there for this property, 2576, okay? Emilio and I went out there and I ran the wheel to come around this way and go down that first street. And this turns and goes into this street, and then it goes to the back part, to this part where we're needing water. There's somebody living here, and 2 people living here, and 1 person on 2640. Okay, so there's 4 people that are out there, okay?
4 households.
4 houses, 4,
John, and
Uh-huh.
2577, isn't that Lindell supplying to?
Also property,
Okay, but they're also supplying to that household too?
yeah, there's 2 meters right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just meant, so.
on that
what-
corner?
Yeah, so what Emilio and I thought is we could run a water line from here down this street, make this corner, come here so we could supply that house, this house, and these 2 houses on the other side, okay? And I come up with, we talked to Dulac Tech Line on material availability and how much it would cost us and how much feet and what it would take us to run them water pretty rapidly, pretty fast. That whole area, if you've never been out there, is just pretty much granite on top. You're running over granite rock, okay? And we've been out there before. You have to hire a rock saw to cut through it, okay? So I came up with some plans. So, and this is just best case, you know, everybody wants it, but I don't think there's gonna be that much more development out there unless something happens, okay? But if we were to run a 6-inch line, it's $308 for a 20-foot piece, okay? We're gonna need 42 joints, so that's $12,969 a 6-inch pipe. We're gonna need 3 valves, which costs about $13.50. 1 fire hydrant to put at the end, that's $33.50. A rock saw, I kinda got a quote on the rock saw, depending on how long it takes, it's about $25,000 to cut that distance on granite.
Is that renting it?
Yes, sir. So the grand total, if we want to run a 6-inch line, would be $71,219 estimate. What Emilio and I kind of decided, so I'm going to kind of give you all these options and what we think would be the best way. Okay, that's a 6-inch line going all the way out there.
John, hang on a second.
Yes, sir.
25, 40,
Uh,
At the top, where are they getting their water?
2640?
They
At the
have
top,
a well.
2640?
They have a well, and
They've got-
what they've been doing this whole time is supplying these people with water in their wells running.
Okay, all right, that's what I was, kind of
And
didn't
so
see a line that was
he's
going to
almost
them,
out
but,
of
okay.
water, and so is everybody else. They're pretty much out of water.
So what are the houses that don't have?
There's this one, and then there's that one, and another one over here.
But that's just, they sold that one single lot, that 13229. All of
Yeah.
that's one single lot.
Yeah.
It's a handwritten plat, but
This whole
it's owned by
thing
one person. So it'd be 1 meter or 2 meters.
It'd be 2 meters.
Okay.
2 meters. There's 2 meters in the back, one right there, and one for Valley. Okay?
So it would be 4 total meters.
4 total meters. So we calculated I calculated the amount of water and what they needed to do 4 houses, okay? Because the other thing you have to take in effect is it's a dead end line, okay? So we gotta figure out how much water volume and pressure as it goes out there. So now you know how much a 6-inch line would cost. We did a 2-inch PVC pipe, but I don't like putting PVC pipe Schedule 40 in the ground, especially on granite rock. It's gonna break. We just spend our time messing with it. But I got the amounts just for that. The total value for that with the rocks all included and the PVC pipe and the valves and different things comes up to about $30,000. Okay?
But you're also looking at frequent lines busting over there with
Yeah. And
PVC,
so
right?
what we came up with is we have a great deal that we use. It's called Municipex. Now, I know that you find that PEX line in the stores, okay? The Municipex is a lot different. It's made for municipalities, kind of like the C900 water line. So that's what we use totally in the city now when we do a line. What you can do with this line is you can run over it with a car and it smashes up and it comes back to form. It doesn't break, okay? You can put it in rock, you can put it whatever. The good thing about the Municipex is that we don't have to dig it 4 foot in the ground or 3 foot in the ground. You don't have to hire and you don't have to have elbows or anything else because you can just curve that line all the way around to wherever you need it. Kind of like a well line, basically. So we thought about a 2-inch Municipex, which they have it, but it's pretty expensive. Not as expensive as the others, but 2-inch Municipex with all the parts. And the thing with the Municipex is you have to bring it down from a 2-inch to a 1-inch and from a 1-inch to a 3/4 inch to get to the meter. So 900 feet of that, because it comes in 300-foot rolls. Total for that project, if you want to put it all in 2-inch Municipex, is $12,849. Okay? Now we have. And so my next option is to put 1-inch lines, okay? And that's probably the best is what we decided, okay? So
So what's the total cost on the 2-inch?
the 2-inch is $12,849.
No, 2 inches, 30,000.
Oh, yeah, on the 2-inch,
No, the
PVC.
the
Municipex,
Municipex is $12,849.
but you're not gonna bury it?
Yes, yeah.
But you're not gonna have to pay for the granite?
No, because you can go around it. Okay?
So you can install it with our equipment?
Yes.
Okay, I've got you.
So what we decided would probably be the best thing is do a 1-inch, the 1-inch Nisopex. I can get 1,800 feet, so here's our plan. Here's the best plan that we come up with. Is when we dig from here to this first lot, is put 2 1-inch lines. I mean, all the way to here,
Right.
okay? That way 1 inch can go to that one, 1 inch can go to this one, and another 1 inch goes over here to supply the other 2. Okay, you can just double that, double the 1-inch lines and put them in the same hole.
Right.
And for 1,800 feet, plus the parts that we need, is $4,158. And we install.
And be, plus our labor and
Yeah.
equipment and stuff.
Yes, sir. But I'm just saying, the equipment cost and the prices for that would be around, say, $5,000.
So, but we're gonna have to, well, first of all, Mr. Lindell Estes line, do we take over that line? Can we get him to give us that line, and then therefore we're responsible for it from
I think
the
from-
highway?
From the, we fix it anyway. I think what he had in the deal, and I gotta find that, you remember that a long time ago, David? On the, what I remember seeing is that he expects payment to somebody to tap into that line, and it's not very much. So we gotta account for that I did not account for.
One time
Yes,
payment?
sir. Yes, sir. And then that would be our line. But in totality, $5,000 for us to run it would be pretty simple.
So then, but we're gonna have to get an easement from Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
And do you think it's possible we can get negotiated with the deal we're working on up there now through the judge
I think
to
so.
get a legal easement? I mean, we would have to pay for the legal
Easement.
fee to get an attorney to draw up the abstracts and everything, because there's no sense doing it if we don't own it or have the ability to own it. You agree? So we would do that down Fort McCavitt Street, and I don't know what that cross street is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really streets, they're private property of Mr. Robinson's at this
Yeah.
point.
I thought we were needing easement down Lindell Lane, and we already had
Well, he
easement
has-
down Fort McCavitt.
Lindell doesn't have that. Robinson owns it.
That's what I'm saying. That's where we were needing from Robinson, the easement. And because over there on Fort McCavitt, that's not his easement,
No.
right?
His roads start right here.
Right.
So this road and this road belongs to Robinson. The reason we're going down this road is because we gotta get those other 2 houses.
Okay, I had understood that one that says Fort McCavitt Street was not his. I knew the other one was, but I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that one's his also.
Oh, that's gonna have to be researched. What about that cross one that's not in white there?
It's actually in another one, that is the street.
Is that divided by those other lots?
Yeah.
So where he's got all those trailers and stuff there, that's not
It's
on his property at all?
That's an actual road right there when you go out there.
So we would have to get an easement through that to get back to 13229.
Yeah, this is actually Fort McCavitt Street. It's not on the other side.
And also, is 2581 and 2585 owned by Don Baxter?
Mm-hmm.
So we would have to, we could just follow
Those
Fort
are storage
McCavitt.
units.
Actually, this stops you, this is actually Fort McCavitt Street, that's not right.
Okay.
Because that is just a driveway
Yeah, for Valley.
for Valley to go into, because it goes across Don Baxter's place.
We have any idea what all the attorney fees would be on that?
For an easement, not very much.
I mean, we did one up on, for Robin Lee, didn't we?
Rob Lee, I can't remember how much.
Anticipating the lots southeast side, you don't anticipate those ever needing water then?
No, because the way he sold it, it's nothing like that is.
He kind of chopped this up here all and sold to one person, right?
Yeah.
Although there's 2 homes there.
No, 13,229, he sold to one person. The 13,2228 is another person.
Okay.
And then the 2640 is yet another person. He sold to numerous people,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just talking about those 4 lots out the bottom.
That have no
Ignoring.
utilities, exactly.
Yeah,
Because they're getting their electricity from Central Texas.
All of these are Don Baxter's, and he has those
Yeah, he's got storage units on,
And then he has storage room, and then,
That's Lindell's, isn't
and
it?
then Lindell here just has open area.
Okay, that's just the area, okay.
Normally, what the course of action would have been, if it was subdivided properly, would be that the subdivision would have paid for the infrastructure to connect up to the city water. But some of these are handwritten deeds that hadn't been filed with the,
That whole
Yep.
thing is a mess out there.
it's a
and,
big, big
And
mess.
nothing's like what this shows in the section.
They're
Is-
behind,
Is that mess working on being corrected?
well, Chad's doing an excellent job, I think. I think Chad's doing a great job. But from here on this way, that's Cavness. That's all the Cavness
yeah,
area.
all that.
Yeah, and that goes into the old Spring Street.
Yeah.
The information has been given to the district attorney on all of this, and it really is kind of a gray area who enforces that you have to file the deed, the best that we can tell, when you sell a property. It would be, I guess, a civil suit between who he sold it to and him, but these folks are for it, so they're unable to do that. So that's as far as we can go. So it's a benevolent situation, basically, because these
So-
people are
Right now,
basically without water.
What he has talked to me in the past, and this is way in the past, is that for us just to take over the roads because he didn't want to build the roads. The roads are already there, and they're in the right place. He said he would give them to the city.
He's told me that too.
So he may just give you the streets, but then we have to keep them up.
Well, but
Which it's,
you
don't
also
have to
said,
pay
I
them.
mean, that piece has been annexed into the city,
Yes, sir, it
right?
was annexed in 1986.
Okay.
And some of it was subdivided before then, correct?
But he has indicated that he would just deed us over the streets, and we wouldn't have to do anything. But we'd have to maintain them.
Are they in good shape now? No.
No, we'd have to put some granite gravel and
Yeah.
kind of get them back up to speed.
Yep, they're all
And
dirt
we don't
roads.
have to pave them anytime soon, but you can grade them. So that would be an option.
So what are we asking? Are we asking to get approval to research it further,
Or get approval to
to actually do it?
approve to do it with contingencies on either him giving us the streets or get easements.
I'd be interested also, John, on the Municipex. You said the cheapest one that you quoted was a little over 4,000, and that would be a 1-inch. And for them, because these people are gonna run out of water completely. The lady that called me said by the end of the month, that guy that's providing them water with the well on 2640, he has a well, and he's been running water to all these people, and his well's going dry. He said he'll be surprised if he'll have water for the end of the month. So I feel we need to act on it and go forward. We've been trying to get water to these people for years, and it
If he
seems like,
gives us the streets, it'll help us in cleaning up that mess a little better.
But we can't get the cart before the horse. can
No,
we?
no.
We've got to do the abstract work first.
If his well is running dry, then why are we not trying to give him water too?
We
Well,
are.
he are.
That was
he is
one of them.
included. He is
Valid.
included in the,
He's one of the 4 houses?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yep, 2640 is down Fort McCavitt, you know, that little slope.
So the well's on
But I thought we
2640.
I thought we made that turn out there on Fort McCavitt to go down to that Lindell Lane.
Yeah,
We're
I think-
gonna take water up to the hill.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think Valley's gotten an easement from Don to go down there.
Okay.
So we got something there that we could go through.
Who has the easement?
Val,
the resident that lives on
residents at
2640,
2640.
his house is down there where you see that,
Yeah. Is the easement he has something that he can convey to the city? Is that, or is that just a, because we need to be putting ours in at least a city easement,
Yes.
so we'd have to get it conveyed back to us. I just don't know how fast this can work if he's gonna be out of water in a month. That's what worries me the most. I mean, this is like, we're running out of water today.
I mean, we're either gonna have to have the street or an easement before we
Yeah,
do anything.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it'll be contingent on how fast we can get the rest of the stuff done.
So who would the city hire to do the abstract work?
I would do David, but I don't know if David would do it, because that's who did, Robin Lee's deal for me. That's who's always done it in the past, but I'm sure if he can't do it, then, Sarita or,
One of the abstract
Brody can
companies?
do it. Be pretty simple.
I mean, that's what makes sense, is that we explore that and see if we can do something.
I would like for us to go forward on this. I feel we owe it to those people up there.
I mean, I
They've
think we need to approve that, yeah, we want to give them water, but we got to finish those other things before we can. I mean, legally, we can't do anything until we figure out.
So
something.
then approve it contingent upon either getting the street or an easement.
Or just approve that
Yes.
we start the process towards doing this and go through the process of first getting the easements and then check and see if we can get the streets or whatever, and then take it from there. Because actually laying down of the pipe and the water isn't going to be that big of an issue, because it's gonna be within your manpower. And your supervisor already knows what,
One of the things that we'll have to do is pay for the meters or the hookups and stuff, like everybody else.
They will have to pay for them, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
The rest of the stuff is on us, I think.
The pressure's good in there?
Huh?
Pressure's good in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Especially when you go from a 6-inch to a 1-inch. You'll have some pressure.
Yeah, well.
And we just needed volume, that's all we're doing too.
so the staff needs approval to go ahead and pursue trying to get easements. I talked to
Yes.
Mr. Robinson about trying to get the roadways given to the city and see what our best option is and come back to the commission. It appears like the first step. That's all we can do.
Start the process on the water supply I make a motion that we allow staff to start the process on providing water supply to the residents at Robinson Oaks area, starting with the easements.
Or the streets given to us.
Easement street procurement.
What would we rather have?
Contingent upon easement or access.
Streets.
Y'all good with that?
What would we rather have, the easement or the street?
The streets, that way we
The
can clean up that
streets,
area.
That way we can clean up the area. I would,
Have you ever driven over there?
if we have the
That's where I
streets,
took you that one time.
I know.
it would benefit
thought that
us. I mean, it
Well,
won't
we just-
benefit us because we'd have to maintain the streets.
Right.
But,
Okay, contingency on resolving
But if you get the street, you get the
the
easement.
easement
You get the easement, you don't get the street.
problem.
Correct.
Right, exactly.
That way,
So we
however
gotta
we
go-
resolve it,
Right.
then we can come back. Okay. So go ahead, just for Patty's benefit, would you restate that,
You want me to restate that?
that
I make-
motion?
I make a motion that we give the staff to go forward with the process on providing water supply to the residents at Robinson Oaks area, starting with the easement of the streets.
Resolve the easement problem. That'd be, okay, wording for you?
Yes.
Contingent upon.
Can we
Yeah,
say,
contingent upon.
can we say an easement or
Resolve it as
or
easement problem.
street procurement, something like that?
Do I have a second?
Yeah,
Because we're happy with either one.
right.
Contingent on acquisition or easement.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, Smith beat you. Okay, we have a motion before the commission by Commissioner Velez. It says, start the process for water supply to the Robinson Oak, contingent upon resolving the easement problem. And it's seconded by Commissioner Smith. Further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-4-0 against. Thank y'all. Thank you for the work that you've done on that, Commissioner Velez. I know you've helped up there interpreting different things.
Thank you.
Item number 5, discussion and action, consider and approve deny or appoint of early voting clerk, early ballot board judge, and presiding judge and alternate judge for the May 4th, 2024 municipal general election. Patty, do you have recommendations for that? I didn't see it in the packet.
Chandra Skiro.
Myself is the early voting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just looked plumb over it.
The early voting clerk, Chandra Spiro, to perform the duties of the early ballot board judge and the presiding judge, and Cynthia Bauer as the alternate judge. I've spoken to both ladies and they have agreed to serve again. They've served many years working the elections for the city.
Okay. Any further questions?
No. I make a motion to accept Resolution 24-386, an appointment of early voting clerk, early ballot board, judge, presiding judge, and alternate for the city of Mason general elections to be held Saturday, May the 4th, 2024.
Have a motion for the commission. Second? Okay. Commissioner Velez made a motion for Resolution 24-386, dealing with appointment of early voting clerks, judges, presiding judge, and alternates. We have a second by Commissioner Keller. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-4-0 against. Item number 6, consider and approve a deny rate for monthly industrial meter charge for the BEST unit, the Mason BEST unit. John, do you want to explain what you're trying to do there, please, sir?
Yes, sir. As you all know, the BEST unit is outside the city limits in our ETJ, and it has 2 lines of path. So it has a line that goes from ERCOT that they recharge from and let go, and then our line that goes to that unit that supplies all the secondary, the lights, the air conditioning, and all the accessories, okay? When we finally got all of this kind of fixed, then that meter is a different type of meter that we use. So it's an industrial meter. It also has PTs. It has lots of different equipment on there. That type of equipment costs quite a bit of money. There's 12,000. Help me on that, man. So there's 12,000 on that meter. There's a 12,000 on the PTs and CTs that are on it, and another $8,000 for our other stuff. So the total of that equipment costs around $34,000 to $36,000 to replace. And so what the meter charge is to replace if we have to work on it, because that's going to be our equipment after it's installed, okay? So what we do with our meter charge for residential is we charge them, what is it, $20 bucks or $22, right? So that means if the meter ever goes out, we change it, and we always recover our costs. So what we're asking for this is, and most of the life expectancy on these meters is about 10 to 15 years, okay? And since the BEST unit is outside the city limits, it's charged twice, okay? So my recommendation, and I have 3 of them here, because if you look at what that system costs us now at $36,000, and what it may cost us in 10 years or 15 years from now, my recommendation would be that we up that to $125, which will be double, okay? So it'll be double that 125, which will be $250, okay? So at $250 at the end of 15 years would be $45,000 that we recoup if we have to work on that equipment. Sound pretty good?
Now, the initial meter is purchased by them? Did they pay for the initial meter?
They paid for everything initially.
Okay, okay. So we're not out of pocket initially.
Between now and then, you know, I looked at K-Pub, and Matt kind of looked at K-Pub, and we did that. And for their industrial meter, they went from $180 to $230, okay? Because everything's costing more on electrical. I did one at, say, $150, you know, charge $150, $300. At the end of its life expectancy, then we should have recouped $54,000. We can go with that. I'm just trying to figure out what the inflation rate is between what it costs now, and if you figure that
10 years
3%,
from now.
the 10-year inflation rate, it's anywhere between the $45,000 and $50,000 range.
What is the commercial rate now for a normal commercial meter?
24.
$24? And what does it cost to replace that?
Usually about $150.
Okay.
Yeah, $100, depending
But-
on how much it costs.
What we said on this today doesn't mean we couldn't change that in a year or 2 or 5 years from now, if the cost goes through the ceiling.
But I just want to put it there so it doesn't, my suggestion would be a minimum of $125, but I think we may need to put the $150 there and be $300 charge to them. And that way we make sure we get the $54,000 at the end of the year, at the end of its life expectancy. Because PTs and different things can go out at any time, and, I mean, it could go out in 5 years. I don't know. I'm just thinking that the normal life expectancy is 10 to 15 years. And I'm just trying to recoup that for the city so we don't spend any extra money.
So you're suggesting 250?
Yeah, $150, but for them it's double because they go outside, so it's $300.
300?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Or
you're,
I would just put $300 and that's what we charge.
right, because we're gonna double their rate, we don't necessarily double the other,
Yeah.
just a flat
So
fee on it.
150 and we double it, or just say 300.
So what, give me those breakdowns again. You said 12,000 for
Matt,
Meter.
you remember that cost?
So it's actually two different meter sets. One's the air meter, so we won't have the meter itself, but we will have the primary meter equipment above. So
Right.
that portion is 12,000. The other one includes the meter, which is an additional 6,000. So it's 12,000 on one and 15,000 on the other.
So it's around $36,000 that we're looking at, 34 to 36,000.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to do is figure out how that'll pay for itself when it goes out, and we have to replace it.
And we're not already locked in on them, I know, are we locked in on their rate? Okay,
So we're actually establishing a meter rate for them tonight.
Just an industrial meter rate for them on our deal.
it's just for that
Is
customer,
that
Right.
because
going out in 10 or going out in 15?
that's unique.
15.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. I calculated it 15 years, 54,000.
Well, at 300,
And-
and
and
it
so
produces,
Yeah, and the reason we want to do it today is before that starts. It's going to take FundView at least 3 months, or a couple of months, up to 3 months to get it into the system. So we need to get it there before they start it, and we start.
I don't foresee it taking near that long, but I just believe that, that's what they say on their term of entering rates.
So you need an answer.
It's just the one rate.
Yeah.
I think they can get it done fairly fast, but
Yeah.
they do have a timeline, and they have a maximum timeline, and I'm sure they can do it sooner, but they work with us really, well when we did our other rates with water. So I don't foresee them taking too much, but they do have that option.
And when you were talking about recouping the cost, so what were you doing to figure that?
Well, if that meter goes out, we have to buy a new one, and we have to buy the PTs and metering equipment.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cost to buying that equipment back.
And that 300 is 300 a
month.
month, okay.
And he's,
So
he's,
3,600, 10 years, got it, okay.
And then I just calculated by
10
15
years.
years.
Okay.
And it comes up to
36,000
Which the whole
Okay.
system would
Got it.
recoup itself.
Got it, thank you.
If we go 15, then we might keep up. It's probably something we need to evaluate every 5 or 10 years anyway.
Yes, sir.
Make sure we don't get caught short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further questions?
No.
or-
Yes, sir.
Should that motion go towards anybody that has a PT set up, not specific to one customer?
That's what it's gonna be. If we have to add an industrial meter to somebody else, it's gonna be the same.
So it's going to have a description to
So,
that.
so we need to do this as our rate schedule?
Yes.
Our fee schedule?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
this is
instead of
gonna go with our
specific,
fee schedule.
yeah, instead of specific to
Yeah.
best? Okay,
So we need to have an
Large-
industrial
It'll be on there
rate.
as large industrial meter. Yeah.
okay.
That's why I wanted it at 150, because if it's outside city limits, it's double.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yes.
So, I'm
What
sorry.
he's saying is correct. You have 3 different kinds of metering systems. You have PTs, which measures the primary flow. You have CTs,
which is a secondary flow, and then you have a normal house meter. The PTs, the price on the PTs is very expensive. Even the CTs, which is basically, you can go out and take a meter that's a CT meter, pull it out, the customer still has power. A normal house meter, they're out. So what he's trying to say is to recoup the cost if something happens. I don't know how many secondary sets you have of CTs in town.
Guess 20, 30, at least.
So not only do you have this one says PTs for the primary potential transformers, you have the CTs, which are on the smaller loads. The schools, I don't know how many sets the school has one.
Restaurants, churches, Yonkers has them, gosh,
Yeah.
there's so many.
There's a lot of them. The thing you get into this
They're little donuts.
is that it's really
Three
hard
donuts, and
to
it
tell if
transfers
they're
the
accurate
power.
because
Calculates
they
the
have
power
to be
into the
tested.
meter, so you know what it
The
charges.
city cannot test the PTs or the CTs. And as time goes by, the CTs start to go out, you don't see the actual consumption, you only see part of it. It'll still register, but not the complete load. So, as I've said before, and I think I've talked to John about it and Matthew, the city needs a program where somebody can come in and check these CTs to make sure they're accurate. At one time, LCRA offered that. They came in and checked all our CTs. They make sure they're wired correctly, because there's so many wiring schematics when it comes to wiring CTs with the transformers, and that you're getting the correct amount of income off those meters. Because if
And
one's
that's
not
what this money's
functioning
used for.
on a CT set with a single phase, you got two CTs, if one goes out, you'll never know it.
So that should be a routine thing that, who would do that, LCRA or?
I don't know if it takes a metering device to do it,
Yeah.
or who will do
Usually
it.
when we check meters, we send them to
I
Texas
think you
Meter
have
Device.
CTs on your, yeah.
We
So
send
if
them
the
off,
CT
and
goes
they'll
out,
check the meters and stuff. But that's the cost that we're trying to recoup, as we're trying to come up with something that we can recoup some of this stuff.
So they can't test it in place? You have to pull the meter and test it?
Well, the city comes and, the tester comes up and sets their equipment and they can test the, CT or the PT installation and tell you which one. It's basically just like a round donut that the wire goes through, and they can tell you which one of those CTs is not functioning properly. Or if a stator in the meter's bad and it's not, working correctly, they can tell you all these things. But they have to have the special test equipment in order to do this. And,
So is that something we need to look into, see what the cost would be to do that periodically?
my personal opinion was, I would have it done to the CTs, the secondary metering equipment around town. Test the meters and test the equipment.
How often?
And, I don't know, you could say every 5 years, I don't know how often they do it, but I know people do it on a rotational basis because of the amount of lost revenue.
Makes sense, yeah.
So you did 20% of them every year, you'd always have them on a cycle then if you.
Yeah, you can rotate them around, but I'd start with the large consumers first to make sure that you're getting
Yeah.
accurate read like you. I'd start with you first to make sure that your meter was correct.
Is that something that's done when we have like new homes going up? We have our building inspector, is that not, they don't do anything?
They don't know anything about it. You have to have a specialized company come in with specialized equipment to test each component of this application, because it's not just like a normal meter. There's lots of other things that are involved with the application, and if one of it goes out, like I said, you don't know it. The only way you catch it if you see a decrease in usage on their utility bill. But you know, you could say that was because we went from winter to summer, or the weather was not as bad as it was.
Right.
So the only way you can really see it is test the equipment.
So that's mainly just big commercial customers.
Paul Smith has them at his house.
Yeah.
we can,
Well,
we
we
can
know they
discuss
ain't
that.
gonna go, my price ain't going down.
Yeah, what it is a normal meter is a 200 amp service, okay? And if you have more load than that, they go what we call a CT, current transformer, which measures the current flowing as a load. And the meter is, the wires going to the meter are like number 10. But they don't actually carry the load. The load is registered through the CT.
So do we, the city, have that equipment and expertise? Or you have to bring somebody in?
No, the city does not have the equipment.
Outsource it.
Most cities do not have the equipment, probably Austin, Dallas, those bigger cities, small municipalities.
They don't.
So we have how many, do you think, in the city? 20, 30?
40,
Maybe.
got,
So
but
we need to put that on.
Because we have caught some, because we've done,
Yeah.
so we have caught those when you catch them and you see it. And that's why we're trying to get smarter on what kind of a rate do we put on there so we can try to recoup some of
sure,
those costs.
even on the smaller
Because-
sets, the
yeah.
CTs, they shouldn't pay the same fee as a normal, business because of the specialized equipment that you have to run that stuff. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why this recouping thing is.
Thank you,
why-
David.
So are we charging more for those customers that pull more than a 200 watt, amp load at this point?
No.
So we
Only-
need to have
only the
another
commercial.
category, industrial or
And then we'll get
whatever.
Yeah, then
Get
that's
Smith
what
over.
you do. No,
Okay.
well, I mean, his residence, and that's why he has,
This sounds like a maintenance thing we need to work at and explore and budget for and that kind of thing, but, on this item number 7 here,
Number 6.
number 6, any other discussion on setting this rate for, we will call this a PT or CT?
Industrial meter.
Industrial.
industrial rate.
I make a motion, we add industrial meter to our fee schedule at $300,
For 150.
150 in, I'm sorry?
Double with
Well,
DTJ.
if it's gonna go outside the city limits, it'll be $300 so we can recoup our cost out there. Inside it'll be 150.
Oh, okay.
But if
Okay.
it's in the city, it'll be 150.
But this one
Yeah.
said best, so that's why I was
Yes.
looking at just it. So
Yes.
we'll do that, okay,
And inside the city it'll be 150 because they won't have that much specialized stuff
okay.
that.
So
those guys
recouping inside the city is gonna be cheaper than recouping outside?
do. Yes.
Okay. At 150.
Okay. We have a second on that?
And it's on the bottom.
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Rayburn. Discussion, we've got a question. The ones inside the city, are they gonna cost the same to replace?
Not as much as the one outside the
Okay.
city.
Okay.
Because we're talking about CTs only inside the city limits.
And our language on our rate say that the meter rate will be twice that,
It has
for,
it in there
for
already.
NTJ or outside the city.
It has it in there already.
And we're currently doing that to everybody else that's outside the city,
Right.
according to their particular rate.
Everybody gets double.
Okay.
Water, trash, sewer.
Okay, I just want to make sure we wasn't contradicting ourselves. Okay, we do have a motion and a second, and it's up for discussion. No further discussion. The motion is made by Commissioner Velez. It is, industrial rate meters are set at $150 per month, with the understanding if it's outside the city, it's a double. And we have a second by Commissioner Rayburn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Good deal.
Really did increase my bill.
We will retire now to an executive session. And I have 7:21 PM. Test.
Test. That's good.
I have we're resuming at 7:47 from an executive session. Item that we were discussing was personnel matters regarding the hiring process, city administrator's position. This is discussion and action in reference to the hiring process. I just want to make a statement that we did meet and that we will, if it's the commission's pleasure, we will meet for a special meeting on April the 2nd. If you're in conflict with that, Patty, that you know of. And the process now, we're accepting resumes and applications. We received some more today, but we'll be receiving them through the 1st. Deadline's 5 p.m. and they will be given to each one of the commissioners as they come in at this point. We'll be scoring those and reconvene for the process. Any discussion? Any action?
None. None needed.
We will continue working on that. Next item is the consent agenda. John, do you have any special statements to make there?
Yes. Y'all got my consent agenda. I will be, I think I was going to talk about the bridge, but we kind of talked about the bridge. Really on that consent agenda, I just want to say this will be my last meeting, and I've enjoyed being at the city. To have the privilege to come in and work for this city is more than I could have asked for. I enjoy all the citizens. I'll be here for a long, long time. I enjoy all the employees. They made it for me. The friendships, really everything. So, and I applaud them for everything that they do. I applaud y'all for coming and making all this money to be our city commissioners and our mayors, and all of the past.
Kind of backhanded one.
all of the past commissions. Especially want to thank the very first ones that hired me. Thank you for that. I've enjoyed just being part and serving this city. It's been a privilege. It's been a godsend for me. And I will be around. So I will be here to come and talk to Donna and them working for LCRA with the electric guys and with them and all of the water guys and landfill guys and everybody else. So if they have any questions, they got my number. I think they should have it on speed dial, so I can answer most questions. If I know the answer, that would be great. But again, it's bittersweet, and I want to thank Mason for allowing me to be their city administrator. And I wish all the luck to everybody, and God will help us. Always has, always been with me, always been with every one of us, and that's what I pray for. But I thank y'all.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
We
Appreciate it
appreciate
very much.
everything you've done for the city for the last 15 years, so.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
And we can have your number on speed dial too?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say thank you, John, too, because what you've accomplished, even in 14 years, for our city has been phenomenal. I appreciate every single thing you've done in and around the city, what you've done in building up the entities around us, working together. That was the big issue before, and how you've built up a team. The workforce for our city is probably the best that it's been. And I just think you've done, I can't thank you enough. I mean, you definitely are leaving your mark in the city.
And that comes just by being intentional and making sure you know everybody. Always be intentional in what you want to do and what you believe in, and it'll happen.
Thank you, John.
And good luck with your future endeavors.
Yes, LCRA will be a great place to work. It's a family atmosphere too. And again, it gives me the opportunity to work with every city from Hamilton County all the way down to Bandera and them, and knowing the electrical system that I know, knowing the people, being able to know the city managers from all the cities and most of the county judges and that type of stuff will kind of be doing the same thing almost, just not actually hands-on anymore.
Good luck with it, absolutely.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll get your grant this time.
Right?
Maybe you get the grant next time.
We'll work on it.
Speed dial.
No pressure there.
John, I want to thank
Got
you
inside route.
for certainly for everything you've done in the time that I've been around. And you fill a hole, and I've worked around a lot of people that do, this is my job, and this is where it ends, and there is no end to when your job is. I said, you can call John at 2 in the morning, and he'll answer the phone. But I do want to specifically say that you are creating a void that we're working hard to fill at. Okay, we're not going to fill it, but we're going to fill at it. But more importantly, I think you have built a team of employees and very learned group of people that know how to work together as a team. And without that team, without the group of employees that are here now, we wouldn't be operating tomorrow. So I think you've done a very good job at picking good employees. And so
Mason's in good hands with the guys and everybody at the city, girls and ladies everywhere. I think y'all in good hands.
Well, John,
thank you.
my daughter quit a job to go to work for LCRA. She worked for them for a year, then she quit that and went back to the federal job. So just in case,
Yeah.
that happens, the door is open here, so,
That'll work.
just a word
Thank
of
you, I appreciate it.
I just want to say, dude, I've just been back and in this position, got to really work with you, for the past couple of years. But obviously, I grew up with you, and
Yes.
you're a man of good morals and ethics, and I really appreciate everything you've done for this city and the team that you've built, and
I appreciate that.
you did this town good. So
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're in very good shape because of you, to be able to move forward. I just want to mention something on the sidewalks, just to update everyone. They have nearly all the excavation, the demo work completed, and those ramps will fit where the steps were, so they will not protrude out in the street. TxDOT did give us 2 foot of right of way that we could put curb stops, bumper stops up to keep the cars from running into them. We've already had one ran into, even though we had a big barrel out in front of it, but minimum damage. But we have to have those bumper stops, and we'll put those up only where we have the ramps or the steps units to push those cars back 2 foot. And we have it up, they'll come in next week. This is, we hope, a temporary plan. We have all intentions of going back in January for another grant. And if we get that grant, then these will go away, and we'll do more of a permanent fix. It'll fit our appearance a lot better, but the whole motivation was to do something to give a few safe routes for the folks that need those safe routes. And that was our objective. And we can't make everybody happy, we know that. And I hate that there are people that's not happy about it, but it's what it is. But we'll keep working. We plan on stopping work before the weekend, before the eclipse, if we're not finished. We're hoping to be finished, but we will for sure have everything cleaned up and ready, and not any debris or anything hindering the flood of folks that we have come in here. And so we have our big job working on this thing. It's looking good. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
Do you have anything else to add about the eclipse planning? Everything's going okay?
everything's going good. So we've established Emergency Operations Center. We're going to have check-ins beginning that Thursday before the eclipse, 7 a.m. every morning. And
Where did you establish the emergency center?
it's going to be at the Annex building. It was going to be here, but we're going to use this facility for hospitality for first responders and put cots in here as well. So we've kind of got beachheads established around the town of where, well, we had the meeting, you were there, where everybody's going to be assigned. The county's got all their assignments, sheriff's got where he's going to put everybody. So yeah, we've planned the best we could for the last 9 months, and
Yeah, I know. And that's another thing, John, I want to mention, just so that people out in the public know, that you have established and this is a meeting that Mike and I attended with your employees, that they've all come together and worked together, and you've established, that's April the 8th, correct?
April the 8th.
Even after you're gone, when I said hopefully you'll be there, but, you're not obligated to us, but at the same time, you've already established a plan where all the supervisors, everything, each supervisor knows where they're gonna be, who's gonna be where, and what's gonna happen, and I think that is just, we're gonna miss.
Yeah, commend Mr. Palacio, very good plan, and I still don't know who all did the work for the website, but our website has very good information about the event. I'm sure Patty and John and Donna had a lot to do with that, but it looks very professional, and it was shared with the chamber. I think they connected up to it. Any other comments, questions, discussion on consent agenda? If not,
Make a,
$5,000 on grants, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Community Foundation, okay.
Did we get our glasses in?
was that grant specific for something?
For the eclipse.
Oh, okay. You can get them free at the library.
They should be shipping today or the 21st.
oh, they come back, maybe?
So
I will email her again tomorrow. See what other nice emails she sent.
And we're not the only ones. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going like.
Right.
Yeah.
Hang on to them.
Oh, and I saw you added the medical site, yeah, on the website, thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Some work.
On the burn ban, whenever there's a violation, I saw when we had several violations, like 2 or 3 violations on burn ban. Where does that money, that comes back into the city? So do they ever have to go back and pay for the permit that they never got to begin with?
Yes, sir.
That plus the
Yes,
violation?
plus the fine. Yes, sir. And we have had.
Yeah,
I've seen several
me too.
little fires popping around town, running leaves and stuff.
For the year. Anything else?
No, sir. I cried after I read John's letter and quit reading anymore. So I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as it was presented to us.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as it was presented to us.
Thank you. Got a second for Commissioner Rayburn. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-4-0 against. Need one more motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion made by Commissioner Velez, and seconded by Commissioner Rayburn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That didn't go bad.